You know, one of the strangest things about modern politics is how two people can watch the exact same event, hear the exact same sentence, and walk away convinced they witnessed two completely different realities. And nowhere is that more obvious than in the way people have interpreted Donald Trump and Joe Biden over the last several years. This isn't just about policy, it's not even just about personality, it's about perception, how people decide what's true, what's false, and what they're willing to see in the first place. And that's where this conversation starts. Lies aren't always lies. That sounds counterintuitive, but stay with me. A lie requires intent, but misinterpretation, selective hearing, narrative driven filtering, those don't require intent at all, just commitment to a storyline. People don't always reject facts because the facts are wrong. They reject facts because the facts threaten the version of reality they've already invested in. And once someone decides what they want to be true, everything else gets sorted accordingly. Donald Trump is the perfect example of this phenomenon. Some people heard him speak and interpreted every off the cuff remark as a coded message, a threat, or a dog whistle, even when the words themselves didn't say what they insisted they heard. They weren't responding to the literal statement, they were responding to the version of Trump they'd already built in their minds. And once that version was locked in, every new sentence became proof of what they already believed. This is how misinterpretation becomes self reinforcing. It's not that Trump said something outrageous, it's that people expected him to say something outrageous, so they filled in the blanks. Some commentators have pointed out that this dynamic created a kind of political pareidolia, seeing patterns that aren't there, hearing meanings that weren't spoken, interpreting tone as intent. It wasn't about the words, it was about the lens. Now, flip the script. For years, concerns about Joe Biden's fitness for office were dismissed, minimized, or reframed as partisan attacks. People saw what they wanted to see: stability, normalcy, predictability, even when the signals suggested something was off. And here's the interesting part: the same people who interpreted Trump's every word as a five-alarm fire often interpreted Biden's visible struggles as nothing more than a bad day. That's the power of narrative commitment. Once someone decides who the dangerous candidate is and who the safe candidate is, their perception adjusts to protect that storyline. It wasn't that the signs weren't visible, it's that acknowledging them required admitting the narrative might be flawed. And for many, that was just a bridge too far. This isn't just politics, it's human psychology. People don't like cognitive dissonance. They don't like admitting they misjudged someone. They don't like acknowledging that their preferred narrative might not match reality. So they reinterpret, they minimize, they exaggerate, they selectively filter. Trump's statements became Rorschach tests. Biden's struggles became background noise. Different stimuli, same mechanism. The danger isn't that people disagree. Disagreement is normal. The danger is when people stop evaluating evidence altogether and instead evaluate whether the evidence supports their preferred team. When perception becomes tribal, truth becomes negotiable. And once truth becomes negotiable, accountability becomes impossible. Because if your side can do no wrong and the other side can do no right, then facts don't matter. Only loyalty does. This is why the statement lies aren't always lies matters. Sometimes the lie isn't in the words spoken, it's in the interpretation applied. Sometimes the deception isn't intentional, it's psychological. And sometimes the problem isn't that people are being misled, it's that they're choosing what to believe based on identity, not evidence. Trump was misinterpreted because people expected him to be dangerous. Biden was excused because people expected him to be stable. Both perceptions were shaped more by narrative than by observation. The real challenge moving forward isn't figuring out who's right or wrong. It's figuring out how to get people to evaluate reality without filtering it through the team jersey they're wearing. Because once perception becomes partisan, truth becomes optional. And when truth becomes optional, democracy becomes theatrical. A performance where everyone claps for their side and boos the other, regardless of what's actually happening on stage. If we want better outcomes, we need better perception, not perfect perception, just honest perception. And that starts with being willing to see what's actually there, not just what we wish were there.